It was late, the kind of stillness where even the city holds its breath. I was half asleep, the weight of Serena's body curled beside mine under the sheets. Then my phone lit up on the nightstand. Reflexively, I reached for it, eyes squinting at the screen. One new story. Hers. I tapped, expecting the usual, a lazy shot of our cat Milo, maybe a glass of wine. But instead, it was a picture of her. Satin robe, a half-drunk glass in one hand, a deliberate, smug expression on her face. The caption across the top read, "If a man feels threatened by a strong woman, he was never a real man to begin with." I blinked at it, the words clearer than the silence in the room. It wasn't the message itself that got to me. It was knowing exactly who it was aimed at. I turned my head. She was awake, casually scrolling through her phone, like she hadn't just fired a shot from across the bed. Neither of us said a word. But something shifted. The kind of moment you can feel without anyone moving a muscle. It wasn't surprise. It was confirmation. A quiet answer to a question I hadn't wanted to ask. The truth is, we hadn't been okay in a long time. No fights, no screaming, just a slow drift. A steady erosion. The kind where your partner starts to feel like a stranger, and their silences feel heavier than their words. Serena was always bold, confident, unapologetically driven. At first, that drew me in. She could dominate any conversation, command any room. I admired it, but eventually that force started to turn. What felt like confidence at the beginning started to feel more like control. Like I had to justify my place next to her. If I voiced an opinion that didn't match hers, I was threatened. If I admitted to being upset, I was too sensitive. If I stood up for myself, I was insecure. She wasn't cruel, but she was dismissive. My thoughts? Interrupted. My hobbies? Mocked. My wins? Minimized. Publicly, she'd cut me off with a smirk. Privately, she'd question why I spent time on things that don't mean anything. There's one moment I still think about more than I should. A housewarming party. Everyone was crowded in the kitchen, laughing. Someone brought up home DIY disasters, and Serena jumped in loud and proud. Tell them about the bathroom sink. Lucas spent 6 hours trying to fix it and ended up flooding the place. The whole room laughed, and so did I, because what else was I supposed to do? But what no one knew was she had asked me to fix it. Said we didn't need to waste money on a plumber. So I tried. I gave it my best. And I figured it out eventually. That joke? It didn't just sting. It erased all of that effort. Later, I told her it bothered me. I wasn't even angry, just honest. She barely glanced up. You're really upset over that? Grow up, Lucas. That night, I didn't sleep in our bed. I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I ended up shrinking in a space that was supposed to feel like home. Over the next few days, I paid closer attention. Not just to her words, but to how I felt around her. How every interaction left me second-guessing. How I had started editing myself before I even spoke. I gave it a week. Watched. Waited. Saw if anything changed. Didn't. If anything, she leaned in further. More passive-aggressive quotes on social media. More little digs wrapped in smiles. One morning, I noticed my old college scarf. The one that meant something to me was gone. I threw it out, she said casually. It looked like something a teenager would wear. That was the moment it clicked. She didn't see me as a partner. She saw me as someone to mold, to manage, to control. My feelings weren't considered. My voice wasn't heard. So that afternoon I packed. Quietly. No scene. No shouting match. Just a note on the kitchen table. You were looking for someone who wouldn't challenge your strength. I was looking for someone who wouldn't question my worth. Take care. I blocked her that night. Not to be petty, but to protect my peace. I found a small place across town. Simple, calm. I filled it with things I loved. Created a reading corner. Pulled out the old canvas and brushes she once said were a waste of time. I started calling friends I hadn't seen in months. I began to breathe again. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was walking on eggshells. I felt steady. Weeks passed. Then a message came from an unfamiliar number. I didn't realize I was pushing you away. I thought being strong meant never backing down. I think I lost something more important in the process. I read it twice. Thumb hovered over the screen. But I didn't respond. Because I had learned something, too. Strength doesn't have to tower over anyone. It listens. It respects. It doesn't make people feel small to feel powerful. A few days later, I came across another one of her posts. True strength doesn't break people down. It builds them up. Maybe she meant it. Maybe it was for show. Maybe it was both. Either way, it didn't matter. Because for once, I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was simply living. And it felt good.